Hello, everybody. Today I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about effective team management for pharmacists. My name is John Weir. I'm a pharmacist at a local community hospital. So I know what it's like to have to deal with team members on a daily basis, so I thought I'd take a few minutes just to talk about this so that other pharmacists can learn as well. So I want to start out by just talking about the basic leadership structure of a typical hospital pharmacy. Usually at the top of the leadership structure is the pharmacy director, followed by usually the pharmacist and then the pharmacy technicians. The pharmacy director is in charge of all of the pharmacists and the technicians, but on a daily basis, the pharmacists usually spend most of their time in direct management of the technicians, just their daily tasks, making sure they're following what they're supposed to be doing and doing everything correctly. So after you kind of know about the pharmacy structure, you can talk about the responsibilities of a pharmacy director. There's a whole list here from strategic planning to supply chain management to financials. The main thing we're going to focus on today is the human resource aspect of dealing with, effectively managing the team, and the other aspects are not going to be covered today. So when covering the topic of effective team management, I wanted to take a few minutes and kind of talk about the 5 dysfunctions of a team. And this is straight from Patrick Lencioni's book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And it really calls to attention, these dysfunctions that typically occur in teams that can break down and make teams less effective. So starting at the bottom, there's absence of trust, and then fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and attention to results. So for the absence of trust, that's people afraid to be vulnerable. They don't trust each other, so they don't open up and they don't tell people what their weaknesses may be and where they may make mistakes commonly. So that kind of interferes with daily pharmacy practice in that pharmacists have to identify the weaknesses of these technicians, and the director has to identify the weaknesses of the pharmacist and address those to prevent them from bringing the team down. And then fear of conflict, even once you find the weaknesses of an individual, trying to come and confront them about it to improve the team in long term, it's difficult to happen in the workplace setting. And then lack of commitment, when a decision is made and the team should be following this commitment, individuals that don't completely commit to this because they don't agree fully, that really can interrupt the team. And then avoidance of accountability, so when decisions are made, individuals are afraid to maybe say, well, you're not following what you're supposed to be doing. There's a lack of accountability there. Others are afraid to hold each other accountable because of that fear of conflict that was discussed earlier. So you really need to have that accountability in place so that people can enforce each other. And then inattention to results, this can be due to status and ego. People are more worried about themselves than they are about the team, so getting that corrected is definitely a step towards improving the overall results of the team. So one of the topics when talking about team management, we need to talk about team member selection. So there were some great topics in Jack Welch's book of Winning that discuss team member selection. He talks about what he calls the 3 acid tests, which are integrity, intelligence, and maturity. That's things to look for when you're hiring individuals. With integrity, that has reputation and reference checks, as well as maturity is kind of the same thing, reference checks and reputation, and kind of a gut feeling about how you feel the individual would fit in with your team. And then education is just a minor piece of that. You need to look deeper and try to see how truly intelligent the individual may be. And then he also discussed what he called the 4E and 1P framework. So these are things to look for when you're hiring individuals, and they include positive energy, ability to energize others, an edge, which is the courage to kind of make the yes and no decisions, execute, so are they able to get the job done, and then passion. If you find individuals that fit the 4E and 1P framework and maybe follow these 3 acid tests, they would be great people to hire for your team. And then also, as discussed in Management 500 by Dr. Montag, just fitting into the business culture. So the culture that you have in your business, how you want your employees to behave, if you think they could fit into that culture, they would be a great addition to your team. So then after you kind of hired individuals, you have your team together, you kind of are trying to determine where things are going wrong and why people aren't excelling when they should be. You need to kind of think of the expectancy theory as discussed in Module 4, Lecture 7 of Dr. Montag's Management 500 course. You first start with effort and how the effort that an individual is putting into their work, how this results in performance, and then performance to reward. So if there's not a link between someone's trying really hard and there's that link between effort and performance is not there, they are trying really hard but they're not performing like they should be, you really need to go back to training that individual and determining if they're doing things correctly to get the performance that we're looking for. And then also, if people don't have that rewards that result from high performance, they don't have that drive to work like they should. So any breakdown in this can result in low team performance. Also looking at goal setting theory, you need to set effective goals for your employees so that they know at any point in time how they're doing towards reaching their goals and their performance. These goals need to be specific, they need to be measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. If you find goals that meet all 5 of these criteria, you can effectively determine how well your employees are doing, and they can determine on their own how well they're doing to meet your goals. And another thing that effective managers can do is that they use what is called differentiation. It's a way for managers to help manage people and their business. This was discussed in Jack Welch's book, Winning, as well. So it's kind of breaking down the performance of your employees into the top 20%, the middle 70%, and the bottom 10%. So, and really the pharmacy director can do this, the pharmacist can do this with the technicians to help determine who's in need of help, who's the best performers. The top 20% you really need to reward. That can be with monetary rewards, or that could be just the praise that you give them to show them that these people are performing the way you want your business to perform, and that people should use them as a model when trying to determine how to improve. The middle 70%, you don't want to discourage them because they're really the heart of your business. They're the majority of your employees. You need to give them positive feedback, set those thoughtful goals towards reaching so that they can become the top 20%. And then the bottom 10% are really the underperformers that aren't working like they should. Those are the people you need to consider letting go from your business and hiring individuals that are willing to work hard and to excel. So these are the resources that I used during this presentation. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today and sitting in and hearing me discuss effective team management for pharmacists. I hope that you learned something, and I thank you.